Specializing in men's apparel, bonobos.com, shared by existing customers was more believable to potential customers. In fact, this real-world information transmission was driving a lot of the virtual world sales. Finally, I decided to turn in, but something in the New York Times caught my eye. To catch up, Walmart moves to Amazon turf, and a virtual light went off before I flicked the real one down. The real and the virtual worlds are coming together in exciting ways, and there is a story to be told about why and how this is happening. For as long as we've had trade and commerce, much of the underlying economics has been explained by location. Déjà vu. It startled me how much this remains true in the borderless and often anonymous virtual world. It became clear to me that night that it isn't simply who you and I are that's important for the answers, but also where we are. Even in the virtual world, it's still all about location, location, location. Furthermore, virtual world sellers of products and content have very predictable demand patterns once you understand where the target customers are. The real world and the virtual world. The voiceover that introduces Star Trek states that space is the final frontier. It is out there, vast and different from everything we're used to on Earth. Similarly, the Internet and its related technologies give us access to incredible new worlds of products and information. Only a few short years ago, these things were inaccessible and perhaps even beyond comprehension. Since the Internet is a transformative technology, it's obviously worth knowing how best to make use of what it offers. It can improve the way you spend your money, make your job more interesting, or even eliminate it, transform entire industries, and connect you with others the world over. More broadly, it plays a key role in everything from the organic discovery of talented musicians like Lorde, the pop star from Devonport, New Zealand, to the trajectory of important political and cultural events like the Arab Spring, to why I stopped buying razors in the supermarket and get them directly from harrys.com. So while it's one thing to use the Internet, most of us do, it's another to understand how it might help, hurt, or alter our individual and collective lives. In fact, the impact it is having on our daily lives and on commerce all over the world exceeds anything that has preceded it. This includes momentous inventions such as the internal combustion engine and the printing press. The sheer scale of the e-commerce sector in the economy gives some perspective as well. According to the most recent U.S. Census e-commerce reports, about $5.5 trillion changes hands online versus about $19 trillion offline. The rate of growth of e-commerce over the last decade exceeds 125%, more than 4 times the nominal rate for offline commerce. Among the 4 key sectors of the economy in general, manufacturing, wholesale, retail, and services, retail growth is the most explosive, exceeding 220% over the last decade. What we are finding is that the way we use the virtual world of the Internet for commerce and for information is dictated to a large extent by the physical world that each of us resides in. This influence is pervasive and sometimes counterintuitive, with implications for our lives in both worlds. There is a key implication that I will explore throughout this book. If you and I live under different physical circumstances and in different physical environments, we will use the virtual world very differently, even if we are very similar people in terms of our ages, incomes, education levels, and so on. We'll shop differently, search differently, and won't be equally attractive to sellers. So if we want to make sense of how we use the virtual world, we need to have a framework for understanding the different influences of the real world on how we shop, search, and sell online. We'll also need to think about what people want. For example, the desire to get things done quickly, to have access to reliable information, and to be able to find great deals on things they'd like to have, and what motivates these desires.